Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy and that you're keeping well. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much for all the comments and all the positive vibes on my Rora video. I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate you guys. Today I'm going to be telling you about my labor and delivery story during a COVID-19 lockdown. I'm actually going to go into detail, so if you're a sensitive viewer or you're just not ready to find out what goes on in a labor and delivery room, I wouldn't recommend that you continue watching. But if you're good with that, then just grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and keep on watching. Okay, so I think the best place to start is in the week leading up to the 27th. I had been getting Braxton Hicks contractions. If you don't know what those are, they're fake contractions, but they kind of feel like the real thing, but they go away after a while. And the one time we actually almost went to the hospital, but they went away and I was like, oh, okay, no, this isn't labor. And then on the morning of the 27th, I went exercising with my mom. It was actually something that we had been doing every morning. We would go walking down the street about like 2Ks in total. I know it sounds like nothing, but when you're 9 months pregnant, it feels like you've walked a marathon. On that day, I decided, why not go up the hill to, loosen things up and speed things up a little bit. Baby wasn't having it. She started kicking like crazy. And then we finished going up the hill, came back down, went back home. The rest of the day was just kind of normal, pretty laid back. And then in the evening, I decided that I was going to bake a cake around 4, close to 5. So I got all the ingredients ready, I prepped, I preheated my oven, did everything, and then I put the cake in the oven. And I then went to chill with my husband. And then I remembered, oh, I didn't set the timer on the cake. So I go back to the kitchen, right? And then I bend down to turn on the timer on the stove. And that's when I felt this gush of liquid. I'm like, okay, I think my water just broke. So I'm standing there, I yell for my mom because, that's the first person I thought of because I was in danger. But yeah, so she responds but doesn't come to the kitchen. And then I call for her again. And then she responds again but doesn't come to the kitchen. So I tell her, please come to the kitchen, because she didn't ask why, but then she just came to the kitchen. And then she sees that I'm standing in this puddle of liquid. And then guess what she does? She calls my husband. And she tells him that I am in labor because my water broke. Right. So he comes to the kitchen as well. So we're all in the kitchen now, and then my mom is freaking out. And she's saying we need to get to the hospital immediately. And I'm just like, I think I would like to bath first. Like, who even says that? Well, I did. Anyway, so I go to the bathroom to bath, and then whilst I'm there, I'm thinking, I need to inspect this fluid, because it was coming out slowly. It wasn't just and then it stopped. No, it was like trickling out slowly later on. So I look at it, right, and it's got teeny little green specks in it. So I'm like, isn't this what they said happens when the baby's in distress? So I told my mom that the baby pooped in my womb, and we had to get to the hospital right away, according to the online birth classes that I had been watching. So whilst I was bathing, my husband had finished packing my bag, like with all the stuff that I was still using, like all the last minute stuff that you can't necessarily put into your hospital bag because you're still using it. And then we left for the hospital at around 6, and on our way there were 2 roadblocks because of lockdown, and there was I think it was a 6 p.m. curfew. There was a curfew. I can't remember what time it was supposed to be, But we got onto the road and we were going. And at that point, I wasn't feeling anything. I think I looked more dazed than in labor. My mom is like, you can't be sitting there looking like you're just having a normal day. You need to make it look like you're in labor, because guess what? You're in labor, and if you get sent back home, something bad is going to happen to your baby. I'm just like, okay, I'll see what I'll do when we get to like the roadblock. So the first one was, okay, they just let us through. The second one, on the other hand, the man is like, you said which one is in labor? She doesn't look like she's in labor. Can I see your letters? Like, who's got letters that they're going to get into labor on the 27th of April? Just like this man. But then I couldn't even do the fake, oh my gosh, I'm in pain. I sat there and just looked at him. And I said, I'm in labor. I need to get to the hospital. For some reason, he ended up letting us through. He wasn't amused, but he let us through. Then we got to the hospital at around 6:30, still no pain. They checked me in. You know, we did the whole health questionnaire. Have you had the flu? Have you traveled? Have you had headaches? Have you had a fever? Have you done so many odd things? And you know, I said no to everything. And then they let me in and they put me in this room, which actually was the labor ward. And then when I was in there, they told me that someone would come and help me, but then I just needed to change into like my nightie, and then I did that. Oh yeah, and just as a side note, if you think maternity pads are for wearing the same way you do during that time of the month, sister, let me tell you, you just like kind of spread it and just lay on it. It's really strange. And yeah, it was weird. So in the room that I was in, there was a big clock on the wall opposite the bed. And I kept looking at it from time to time, and I actually had my first contraction at 7 p.m. And then the midwife came to check on me at around 7:15. So she tells me that your doctor is actually not available, but we've called the person who's standing in for her. So right now I'm just going to check you for dilation and stuff, and then I'm going to take you to, I can't remember what she called it, but the waiting place. You know? No. So I was in the delivery ward, and then she wanted to take me to the labor ward, where like you sit and you feel the pain, go through it and stuff. So I told her, oh, I just had my first contraction, whatnot. She checks me, and then she tells me that I am 2 centimeters dilated. Another side note, just in case you think checking for dilation is when they bring this little instrument and it goes beep, 2 centimeters. Like, you know those infrared contactless thermometers? It's not like that. The hands, honey, they get all up in there. I don't know. They get all up in there, and then it hurts. Like, I think it's like this with the contractions. Maybe checking is like slightly above. Or no, they're equal, man. But it's hectic stuff. It hurts. And then she also confirmed that the green dots that were in the fluid were actually meconium, which is like baby poo. And the baby was in distress, and she checked her heartbeat though, and it was okay. And she told me everything would be fine. The doctor was on her way, and so I just waited. For some reason, she didn't end up moving me there. I had my second contraction at 7:30, and from there I then had 3 contractions that were about 6 minutes apart. Then they moved to being 2 minutes apart. And then for some reason I was thinking, no, this is progressing too quickly. So there was a time when I recorded one contraction and the other one. So they were 2 minutes apart, right? And then when I got to the third one, I'm like, no, these two are not real contractions. Let's maintain the 6 minutes apart. So I deleted the 2 contractions. And then they came back again 2 minutes apart. I'm like, okay, no. This is hectic now. It's serious. Then at around 8, I requested dinner, and I was actually really lucky to get it, because when you're beyond 4 centimeters, they're not going to give you food. They want you to have fluids only. So I got my dinner and I ate. Then at around 9, the doctor arrived. And guess what? She did the same dilation assessment, and hers was a bit more, vigorous. I felt like they were doing a sweep more than just checking for dilation. Like they were really getting in there. And I remember just squeezing with my thighs, like I could just squeeze her hand out. But of course that didn't work. She continued doing what she was doing until she was satisfied. And then she told me I was 4 to 5 centimeters dilated at the time, which was 3 centimeters in 2 hours, which was like pretty quick, especially for early labor. So at this point, the doctor then said to me, I'm going to give you something to speed things up and help you along, which was oxytocin. It helps make your contractions way stronger. And the stronger they are, I'm guessing the faster it all goes along. So she gave me that, and then she gave me Pepidin for pain. And then I remember just lying there, and she was sitting in a chair next to me, and the midwife was in the room as well. And she was trying to talk to me, but I was really spaced out on the meds, and I'm guessing the pain as well was adding to the mix. So I drifted off at some point. I wasn't really listening to her anymore. So she then checks me again. At this point, I'm not even looking at the time. Like, I'm just in my own world. All I remember was her telling me that we're at 9 centimeters. I'm like, oh, okay, that's progressing fairly quickly. At this point, I then started feeling the urge to do a number 2. So I asked ever so nicely if I could be excused to go to the bathroom and have some privacy and, attend to my business. So the midwife says to me, oh, no, that's the baby coming. The doctor says the same thing. I'm like, no. I haven't had many babies, but I've done a number of number 2s. But this is definitely a number 2. Can I just, go? They're like, no, here's a tray. Just let it go. Just poo in there. I'm like, these women are joking. They're kidding. I am not gonna poo in a silver tray. It's not gonna happen. No, actually, I just want to wee. Can I go? They're like, no. The tray does the very same thing. Just wee in this tray. Like, okay. That didn't go so well. Moving on. So then the next thing that the doctor says to me is, on the next contraction, I'm going to need you to push. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to push. So I tried to do this pushing, and I tried through 3 contractions, and I couldn't get it right. So then they decided to suck her out using a vacuum on, I think, the 4th contraction. It all just happened so quickly. And at 11:25 p.m., Zara Miranashe Kuvea was born. And she weighed 3 kgs and 10 grams. She was 53 centimeters long. Her head was 35 centimeters. And she had an APGAR score of 9 out of 10. So it's just a check that they do on a baby that's just been born to see how okay the baby is. 10 is the best, so 9 is pretty good. After she was born, they congratulated me, then they lifted her up, and then they asked me to confirm whether she was a boy or a girl. She was a girl. And then they put her on my chest for what felt like 5 seconds. I don't really know, it didn't feel like a long time. And then they took her away just to clean her up, get her dressed and everything. I then passed the afterbirth and it was just one contraction, much more bearable, smaller object that we're pushing out. And at some point I actually tore, so then they started sewing me up. Somewhere in between they brought her to me so that I could give her her first feed, and she was like super hungry, but I'm pretty sure nothing was coming out. But we both kind of just rolled with it. Just as a side note, she was actually born with the umbilical cord around her neck, and that's the reason why she was in distress. But after doing some research, it's actually common in small babies and hyperactive babies. When I think about it, in the weeks leading up to the birth, she used to kick like in a way that would freak me out. It was really rapid and just scary. It didn't feel normal to me. My maternal instinct was telling me this is not normal. But I couldn't get a scan or any hectic checking done because we were in a hard lockdown and my gynecologist was closed. I actually went there and her rooms were closed, and there was a note that said, if you're in labor, call us, but if it's not an emergency, forget it. Not in those words, but basically that's what it felt like. I actually didn't manage to get any hospital footage because, you know, I was on my own. They weren't allowing birth partners in the hospital because of COVID. So yeah, I just took 2 short videos. I'm gonna insert them at the end of this, but that's basically all I had from the day that my daughter was born.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you're expecting and it's your first time, I hope that some of the stuff I've said in this video is gonna help you in some way or the other. I really hope I didn't freak you out. That wasn't my intention. I just wanted you to be prepared for what's gonna happen in that room on the day that you go into labor, or rather what might happen, not what's gonna, what might. Please leave a comment below if you can relate to what my experience was like. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I am planning to release a lot more content now, and I'd really appreciate it if you do. And please recommend my channel to a friend or 2 or 10. I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye!